11 years after the last Crown Victoria was produced, and what I feared the most is slowly happening before our very eyes. And it could all be summed up in 2 words: parts scarcity. You see, people have been calling me crazy for hoarding all these junk Crown Vics and Panther cars. But what's even crazier, it's what's happening right underneath our very noses. Now, as someone who's been buying, restoring, and building Crown Vics for the last 15 years, I've noticed a very scary trend. And that is finding parts for these cars is getting harder and harder with each year that passes. The Crown Victoria, a car once revered for having an almost unlimited amount of spare parts available, partly due to it sharing engine components with Mustangs and F-150s. However, it's now heading towards a parts shortage crisis. Don't believe me? Go down to your local parts store and try ordering even the most basic of parts. Things like alternators, water pumps, hell, even air filters are now needing to be ordered from other stores or even outside vendors, i.e. junkyards. If you guys haven't seen the video I made on the true number of Crown Victorias that are left out here in the United States, I suggest you guys look that video up. I'm actually going to include it somewhere right here. You guys need to watch that video because the number of Crown Vics, hell, the number of Panther cars out in the wild is actually significantly lower than people lead you to believe. But the situation is getting worse than I originally thought. You see, as of recent, insurance companies are actually totaling out Panther cars for even the slightest bit of damage. For example, this right here, this is my Cobra Roush Vic right here. Check that out. That right there, that little bump makes this car totaled. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to fix them. These cars are lasting way longer than these people thought, than the manufacturers thought, that the insurance companies would like to admit, and they're junking them, they're totaling them. But not only are they totaling them, they're crushing them. So finding these in the junkyards is also getting more scarce and scarce with every year that passes. Not to mention with people buying these cars to derby them, to wreck them. Scary to say, but the parts crisis for these cars is coming sooner than I originally thought. Which brings me to the topic of today's video, guys. Now, this only applies to the most hardcore of Crown Vic and Panther enthusiasts. I think it's time we start giving these old quote-unquote junk marketplace cars a second chance. Yes, I'm suggesting to start buying parts cars now before it's too late. As our cars get older, there will be less and fewer companies producing replacement parts for our cars. The more years that pass, the worse this is going to get. Don't even get me started on electric cars. And when that shitstorm takes full effect, what that means is that as more and more cars become literal computers on wheels, eventually the local parts store will be a thing of the past. Now, this won't happen overnight, but things are already moving in that direction. Ladies and gentlemen, the winds of change are coming. Soon, there will come a time when even the most simplest of car parts will be out of reach for us Panther car enthusiasts. I say this all the time, but our precious Panther cars are on the endangered species list. We need to save the Vics, because even in a quote-unquote junk condition, these cars can still help keep our cars on the road when the inevitable transition happens from combustion to electrification. Keep on fighting the good fight and save the Vics.